Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel How to Paint Watercolors with me, Colin. I want to paint this one as a mountainous winter night scene, just leaving a thin film of water on the paper. It's a £140 knot, which just means not rough, not smooth. It's an in-between. Quick run round of the colours: permanent magenta, phthalo blue with a little bit of indigo, indigo and phthalo blue, more indigo than phthalo blue, indigo and burnt umber and neutral tint, and some thick cerulean blue. I'm going to take some permanent magenta, and what I've done, I've just run some masking fluid around the tips of the mountains just to keep them clean, sharp edged. Phthalo blue with indigo, touch of indigo in it just to bring this blue the sky off before we start to deepen it. Indigo with a hint of phthalo blue in it. Indigo and burnt umber. The board is laying flat. Just want to drop some 1 or 2 bits and pieces in here. And I'm going to take a flat brush, and I've just wet it, but I'm just taking the moisture out of the brush. I'm going to start removing some cloud formations. A little at a time. I want to leave some of that permanent magenta in. Get it to the point where you like it, and then you can stop the spread or the backfill with a hairdryer. So I'm going to let that dry. Now that the sky's nice and dry, I'm going to take some of the indigo and burnt umber. I'm going to move it to the centre, and I'm just going to water it down a touch. And we can just put the shadow sight in to these mountains. Just thickening that up, and I'm just going to strengthen this in some areas. Just adds a little bit of a difference to it, just for some deeper shadows. I'm going to take a little clean water. I'm going to re-wet the mountains. Taking some of the phthalo blue, I'm just going to add it to that, touch of magenta. I don't want this too bright. Take a little magenta, just stroke some of that in. It's in the sky. You'll hardly see it washing out the bottom. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. Now, initial washes are dry. I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to some of the snow. So I'll just add a tiny bit of magenta to that mix in the middle of indigo, burnt umber, and I'm just going to drag the brush across the slopes. Very little paint on the brush. Taking a wet brush and just softening some of these edges in so you get some hard and some soft. Just helps to break up a solid line of colour. Then I'm just going to strengthen that up again. Take the excess off the brush, and we can start to add some rocks in and crags, just to give these mountains some interest. Make the rocks and crags flow in the direction that you want them to flow with the direction of the brush, and you get a hit and miss effect. There's a gully in there. Just soften off one or two areas. And then we're going to let that dry. Now that that's dry, I just want to take some clean water along these background, well, the middle ground trees. Now that the mountains are dry, I'm just going to pull some water into the mountain, just creating different heights and different levels of wetness, if that's the word. Indigo and burnt umber, a little bit thicker, permanent magenta. I don't want it too thick. I'm going to break open my oil brush, but you can use a mop brush for this if you wish to. And as it hits the water, the trees start to spread out, creating some mist at the same time. The board is set at an angle to mix some more paint up. Take a damp brush and just mop the extra water up. Wet my brush here and just remove a little paint from the bottoms of the trees, just creating some mist. Pull a little down in here. Then you're going to let that dry. Now that that's dry, I'm just going to mix up a little more colour. Just all the blues, a little bit of burnt umber and permanent magenta added to it. Slightly stronger, I think. And begin to put the tops of these trees in. I'm just making a mark so I can decide the height. I also want to take some clean water and push this in up, but only at the bottom. Once again, break open your oil brush or your mop brush if you have one. Bring it into the water. Come across this side. Take a rigger brush and put the top in with this. Just letting the end of the brush dance about. I don't want these to be misty, I want these to be pretty clear. Just adding some clean water along this bank. Just creating some shadow in the snow. Just dropping colour along the shoreline. Creating a black with this colour almost, by adding more burnt umber to it, and dropping this in along the river's edge. I also put some clean water all along where the snowbank is. Be careful of not hitting them trees. And this for the back, a little bit watery. Start at the bank and pull it backwards. Caught the tree there, but it doesn't matter, we'll tidy that up. Adding some of the burnt umber and indigo, pull that through it, just to create some deeper shadow. Creating a deeper colour with indigo and phthalo blue. Pull this into the snowbank at the back and allow that to drift. Once again, I want to take some of the permanent magenta and shoot that through it. Softening it as we go. More burnt umber to that colour to make it darker. pull a little bit of it back. Just going to add some bushes and little bits and pieces on this here. Dropping some of the magenta in. And then I'm going to let that dry. Now it's all dry, I've just re-wet the water area with some clean water. I'll take some magenta, horizontal strokes, indigo with some burnt umber added to it, indigo and phthalo blue. It's all the sky colours really. This is straightforward phthalo blue, I think, with a little bit of indigo in it. Dropping some magenta in. Mixing some indigo with some burnt umber just to darken it really, just to create some deep pools. Run this up along the bank. Can't really see any reflections, but I might just add some with the tops of these trees. I'm just going to lift a light patch of water out here, and then we're going to leave that to dry. Now that's dry, I just scraped in some wind streaks with a craft knife and a ruler. You've seen me do that before, and I want some very gentle highlights, not too strong. So I'm taking some straightforward cerulean blue and I'm just going to drop this on these trees just on the outside edge. I don't want too many. This has to be really dry for you to do this. Really just about it, I think, for these. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is where you get down to the best bit, or the good bit. This is where you get to sign it, put a mark around it and frame it. So once again, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Thank you.